I on? I'm on. Hello, everybody, for my late video release coming right before our Thursday night game. I can never figure out how to turn that on. I apologize for the late release, but here we go. Week 6 fantasy recap. I'm going to run it through it. Caitlin's next to me.
Hello, team.
Hello.
Or league.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So, all right, we'll go. Worst matchup was Will versus Dylan. It was low scoring, and Dylan doesn't really care anymore. And nobody really cares about Dylan. So there you go. Worst matchup there. Best matchup was Doug versus Greg. It was relatively high scoring, pretty close all week. Kind of came down to Monday night, but great matchup. Did not disappoint. Worst injury luck was Hunter with James Conner going down and Marquise Brown also going down potentially for the whole year. Most unlucky this week was Doug, which is surprising because normally Doug is the most lucky, but he had the most points in a loss. He still has Keenan Allen out, and he played against Ramondre Stevenson without Damian Harris, like the one game Damian Harris missed, and Doug had to play against Ramondre, who popped off. Luckiest was me just because I put in 101 in a win and played against Alex Lazy team who does absolutely nothing. So that was super lucky for me. Dumbest move was definitely Will for playing DJ Dallas. Why he played DJ Dallas, nobody will know. Runner up was Dylan for playing Chase Edmonds, who is terrible but not as bad as DJ Dallas. So Will wins dumbest move there. Smartest move was Doug, just a combination of the Tanyan pickup, the Alec Pierce play, and the Darnell Mooney play, which were ballsy plays, to say the least. But Doug pulled it off, even though he lost. Best free agent move was Doug picking up Tanyan. That was pretty much the only one that was good this week. Most annoying player, though, was, in fact, Doug, for his rage and baseless claims about my dabbage. Doug, it was a close match between you and Logan this week for most annoying. Logan, was doing his whole thing, getting mad that somebody scored against him. But then you came in hot, Doug, at the end of the week when I just, was inquiring about if we have the playoff structure right, and you just went all in on me. Therefore, most annoying. It was totally unnecessary. And then also claiming that I was taking dabs, which is just ridiculous. Stock falling was Hunter. It took a heavy loss with injuries and, starting to get the best of him, the injuries, and he just, he lost pretty bad, and this team's not looking as strong. So stock falling, definitely Hunter. Stock rising, Camacho. He keeps winning. Breece Hall, Gainwell. That doesn't sound right. Breece Hall, ETN, and I was trying Kenneth Gainwell. That makes sense. Breece Hall, Kenneth Gainwell, and ETN are winning their prospective starting jobs, which really is causing Camacho's stock to skyrocket. Best player this week is Greg. He basically had the most points, and he did it without his, one of his good players, Jonathan Taylor. Also, I can't bring myself to give Camacho a best player award. But Greg was only less than him by like 2 points. So we give to Greg. Worst player was Dylan, 106 points. He played Chase Edmonds. He played Antonio Gibson, who he said he forgot that he started. And then he also had to play Russell Gage. So I think that is worthy of a worst player from Dylan. So here's the scoreboard. I'll give you guys just a second, but feel free to pause it. Doug picks up his first annoying charge. I pick up my first lucky, I believe. Yeah. And man, there we go. Still, close matchup. No one's really running away with it yet for most annoying. Last week's rankings versus this week's rankings. Greg pops up to the top spot. Camacho, has to be moved from 5 to 2. I go up 1, because I still like my team. Connor moves down 1 due to the loss. Hunter, drops, pretty significantly he drops about 3 points. He goes from a 15 to a 12 after the injuries and the loss. There we go. Sam, Alec, Ashton still at the bottom. Dylan and Doug still down there. Pretty much the same from 6 down. Next week's worst matchup is Ashton versus Sam, two out of towners. They both stink and nobody cares about Sam. Next week's best matchup is Hunter versus Greg. Solid battle. Hunter needs a win. He needs to make a comeback. Greg's trying to make a statement and shut down Hunter. I think probably Greg will take that matchup, but that is bam, bam, bam. Both play soccer. It's going to be wild. My season segments. Okay, we'll do this is to enter into the dab section for Doug and whatnot. So we're just going to do a blind quarterback resume for this week. We have a 24 points guy going versus a defense that quarterbacks average 18 points against. He is average talent. Then there's 18 points. This person got 18 points last week playing against a defense that allows 23 points to quarterbacks on average. And then you see 12, talent above average. You look at this, who are we picking this week, from last week to play? Obviously, this guy's top, but, there we go. Now we go, and the number one guy, blind quarterback. Oh, what is going on? Blind quarterback resume is Trevor Lawrence. So I basically had the option this week due to obviously Dak being out. I could have picked up Trevor Lawrence. I could have picked up Justin Fields, who Doug was relentlessly telling me was just a ridiculously stupid idea to even consider him, even though he ended up with 18 points after averaging against a defense that averages 23 points per game allowed. And I was thinking about maybe starting him. I ended up going with Stafford, which I should have gone with the other two options, obviously. But I ended up getting 12 points, and he was playing against a defense that allowed 18 points. And then we got Doug's quarterback, 9 points against a really good defense that's only letting quarterbacks score 10. And then my other option was Carson Wentz, whom I dropped. So this is just keep this in mind when we're looking at dabs, because Doug said I was taking dabs for doing thinking about Fields. He said I was taking dabs for thinking about Stafford, which I did do Stafford. And then, we see where his quarterback is and where the guy I dropped was. So we'll see who's actually doing the dabs. So Doug for trashing the idea of Fields, even though it would have been the right move, 10 dabs. Doug for trashing the Fields idea, even after he played well, 10 dabs. Doug was telling me, oh, like you taking dabs because, you were thinking about the Justin Fields play. And he said that like Monday after Justin Fields put up 18 points, which is solid. Doug for assigning dabs and then just taking Doug for assigning dabs taken. Oh, dabs. Sorry, Doug for assigning dabs taken and just getting it all wrong and being bad at it. Doug in the chat was assigning dabs to me and just doing a horrible job at it. Just leave the dab counts to the experts, Doug. You got to take into account many factors. You got to take into account tolerance. You got to take into account the move. Just Doug was throwing dabs out willy-nilly. This is a science, Doug. Leave it to the experts, all right? Doug, for raging on an inquiry about our league setup. As you guys know, I was like, hey, guys, are we doing this right? And Doug just raged on me, nothing too crazy. But 10 dabs for Doug. Doug for believing you can never change anything about the league under any circumstance. Hunter could get shot in the head tomorrow, and I would be like, hey guys, I think we need to pick a new commissioner. And Doug would be like, well, you should have thought of that before the league started. And I'd be like, what? And he'd be like, can't change anything during the league. It'd be like Logan could literally get run over by a car, and I'd be like, I think Tyler should take over his team. And Doug would be like, well, I mean, it's week 6. I mean, should have thought about Logan getting hit by a car, beginning of the year. And I'd be like, dude, what? Anyway, Doug is just like, I mean, what really happened is Doug in his hockey league, they changed the actual league scoring on him, and it seemed to have apparently did him dirty. But not everything is that big of a deal, Doug. It's not ridiculous to suggest that something be changed, something minor be changed. Anyway, Alec for his trash bench and not really playing the game. Alec didn't, he had an extra bench spot, and about 3 of his players on his team should be dropped. Just throwing that out there. Alec for thinking he doesn't have enough time for fantasy, 20 dabs. I mean, Alec probably scrolls on Tinder like 15 times more than the the time he would need to actually do fantasy. It's really not that time consuming. Logan for not believing that Logan for believing that nobody should ever score against his team in fantasy, 15 dabs. Logan, whenever someone scores a touchdown against him, it is like you would have thought that like his mom died or something. It was like the most shocking thing ever to Logan is that somebody plays well against him in fantasy. 15 dabs, because in Logan's mind, he's like, nobody should ever do good against me. That makes no sense. Logan, for being so upset about the thirsty rankings, Logan was very, very upset that I put him so high on the thirsty rankings. So 5 dabs. Logan for not getting his boating license, 60 dabs. For those of you who don't know, Logan had the opportunity to get his boating license and drive his parents' boat probably since we were like 18 years old, and he's never done it. And anytime I bring it up to him, he says, I'm going to do it. Come on. He gets upset at me for even bringing it up. This summer, he was supposed to do it. I kept bringing it up. He kept getting mad at me and saying, I'm going to do it. Just hold on. Guess what? He never did it. 60 dabs. Will for starting DJ Dallas, 2 dabs. Ashton for dyeing his hair red on his honeymoon, 1 dab. That was horrendous. Hunter for his Mao-like tendencies. I texted Hunter inquiring about the potential change and playoff format, and he just said, he just texted me back like, no. I was like, okay, Mao. Anyway, we all know that Hunter, lets power get to his head a little bit. Doesn't, no democracy. And then Connor for acting like there isn't 2 ways to spell his name, 75 dabs. Connor always gets mad when you spell his name the wrong way. Connor, there's 2 ways. You can spell it Conner or Connor. It's not that crazy, buddy. Anyway, new thing is dab leader of the week is Doug. Doug took 95 dabs this week, which is just absurd. All right, who's out of the league? New segment. We have Alec is 75% out. He is saying he doesn't have time to play fantasy, which makes no sense. His bench is terrible, and he never wins. So, he's about 75%. 60% Dylan. I want Dylan in the league. I like Dylan. But his commitment is falling, and he's claiming real girls are better than fantasy football, which is actually what he said in the group chat the other day. So that's ridiculous. That's a absolutely ridiculous statement, Dylan. And then also he doesn't watch the games or my videos, so he is on thin ice. Sam, I would put him at 100% if I could right now. I mean, he didn't set his lineup last week. He also almost didn't set his lineup a few times last year. Hunter had to remind him to do it. He has too many leagues. He doesn't care about this one, and he's also a sexual predator. So I want him out of the league. Camacho is about halfway out of the league. He's been rumored to have lost interest even when his team is good. And when his team was bad, apparently he was out, which is just, you can't do that. Hunter 100% needs to be out of the league this year. After this year, if you're reading the thing, it says just kidding. And then Logan is about 5% because he complains too much about players scoring against him. And he wins. It's like Logan's up by 50, and Tyreek Hill scores a touchdown, and he's shocked. It's the most unbelievable thing to him. So anyway, there we go. Where I was wrong for thinking I could have a civil discussion with you all about how we should have our playoff structure work. I was really wrong on that. Greg had the dog in him this week. He put the beating down so hard on Doug, it turned him loose, and he just had to pop off in the group chat. And his team looks sweet. But yeah, Greg, just dominant win over Doug. Doug put up about 125. So Greg really, really put it down on him, and it just caused Doug to have a mental breakdown and just completely freak out. Whiffer hit, Logan, Lamar hit, Waddle hit, Chase hit, Devontae, Josh Reynolds, Devontae Smith hit, Akers, Dobbins, Elijah Moore, and MVS, who we drafted, terrible. Brian Robinson, Darrell Henderson's are TBD. Man, this is getting long. I gotta get home, or Logan's gonna get mad at me. Talks big game in the Discord, Ashton. Group chat. Wait. Okay, hold on. Weekly vibe check. Ashton talks big game in the Discord and the group chat, but he's not that involved. He watches the videos, which I respect. He watches my videos. He does have love for the game. He loves UGA players way too much. He likes the Bengals for no reason at all. Give me one single reason he likes the Bengals. You can't give it to me. Thought I was trolling by making the Cup trade. He says the word trolling way too much. He is way overused. And he is definitely very unstable and can pop off at any moment if somebody, if like Nick Chubb runs for a touchdown, watch out. Ashton is coming for you. My lock of the week is that Dylan does not sub out his bye week / injured players, which he already did, but still funny. I don't have any TikToks. Who I'd want to be in the foxhole with. This is who I'd want to go to war with. Greg, number one, very solid guy. Connor, surprisingly, very solid guy. Will, pretty solid. It's got a mustache. Hunter, extremely flaky, but I'd trust him. Logan. Now, then there's Sam at 6, which Sam doesn't exist. So everybody below him, I would rather die. Doug, Ashton, are you kidding me? He dyed his hair red. Dylan, no chance. I would want him in there. Camacho, and then Alec would literally shoot me in the back of the head if it gave him a 5% better chance at talking to a Latina. And then obviously I'm not on there because it's for me. Roommate rankings, myself, best ranking. And then, of course, I have to put Doug and Dylan up there because they are, my roommates. And then Greg, I wouldn't mind going with him. Hunter, okay. I kind of would like to use the couch in the morning, though. Hunter's always sleeping on the couch. Logan, Sam doesn't exist, so everybody below him, I would definitely not want to live with. Connor, Will would probably try to make me go fishing or something. Ashton, no comment. Camacho, obviously, and Alec, again, obvious. Who I'd like to see get hit by a wiffle ball bat. Logan, number one. Come on, guys. Think about how funny it would be to see Logan get hit by a wiffle ball bat. Doug also would be pretty funny. Doug would be like, what the heck? What are you doing? And then Ashton would I think, would probably cry. Connor would give a funny reaction, just like, hey, be funny. Alec would just smile through it. Greg, I think, might also cry. Camacho would probably just leave. Like, wherever he got hit, he would just run away. Dylan would go just look at you with a weird look, like, what? And then Hunter wouldn't really do anything. Will would take it like a man. And then obviously me and Sam. And that's it, guys. I got to get going. Sorry for the late video, but signing off. Let's ride.